So the first thing we're going to want for this is a car. Now you're going to want to always pick a car that usually starts rear wheel drive and it can usually build a lot of power. This is my garage. Our car of choice here is going to be the Nissan Gloria Gran Turismo. We're picking this because it's a very cheap car for those who are first starting out the game, and it builds a lot of power when it's fully upgraded, as well as it is a pretty long car, so it's going to drift pretty easily. And well, first thing we're going to do is we're going to put on drift suspension. If you're ever going to drift a car, the first thing you want to put on immediately is drift suspension. And of course, you can also go ahead and do roll bars and stuff like that, brakes, those all help out a ton. Weight reduction is another huge thing. For the transmission, I'm actually going to just use stock transmission. We're going to switch to the race drive line just to save weight. Put on the drift differential, of course. For a tire width, whether it's front or rear, you always want to just leave it at as thin as it can be. And this is a really, really old car with incredibly thin wheels, then obviously you thicken those up. I'm going to do the track width as well, mostly for the looks. I believe it does help a little bit with handling, but Now for this next part, another very important one, your tires. For this, we're actually going to be using snow tires because we're going to be keeping this car at very, relatively low horsepower before we move on to higher horsepower stuff. But just as a nice little fun fact, if you want to make a very low horsepower build for drifting, like say 400 horsepower or less, you would want to be using snow tires since they're the least grippy snipe. If you ever want to make a drift build with a very low horsepower, say like 400 horsepower or less, you'd probably want to be using snow tires since they're some of the least grippy tires in the game. Or I guess in the case of this car, they actually have a little bit more grip. I'm going to be doing visual customization here just because I want to. None of this stuff helps with the car. Okay, and for the engine bay, we're actually going to do a few things here. First off, I'm going to pick an exhaust because I like how this one sounds. If you want to pick an exhaust, pick whichever one you want. The horsepower gains from them aren't too much. Up next, we're going to put on race camshafts so you have a higher RPM. This will make it a lot easier when it comes to the drifting part. And that's all we're going to do for now. The horsepower is relatively low at 367. We only gained about like 100-ish horsepower. This is just a very simple guide, so I'm not going to go over tuning and stuff like that. This is just very simple stuff to get you just sliding. So before we even start sliding, we have to make some changes in difficulty. If you want anti-lock brakes on, then you can go ahead and have those on. I personally play with simulation steering on because I just like having more control over my own car. But if you want to play with standard, standard is fine. Obviously, turn off traction control, turn off stability control. I play manual with clutch, but it's perfectly fine if you don't play normal manual. And the rest of this stuff just literally doesn't matter. Okay, now. My god, that crowd is so loud. Okay, now the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna get you to drift in a fuck. First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna get the cursor is so slow. The reason we do the loop here is just so you can get a handle on the car and sliding it and such. On top of this, I'm gonna have my telemetry menu open so that you can see up here how I'm moving my wheels and how much brake and throttle I'm using. So yeah, basically the goal here, just to get you started out, is you're gonna try to do an entire lap here around this loop. This is for those who aren't familiar yet with getting the car sliding and controlling it. I'm not doing very great here, to be honest, but getting a little bit better right here. And that's about a full lap right there. And if you want, if this loop is too wide for you, you can do it here, where it's much tighter. This right here actually might be better to do since it's a much tighter loop. This loop here actually might be better for learning. So you just want to do an entire loop here. And what it's going to basically teach you is just, getting the car to slide in the direction you want it to go. And of course, just keeping it in one angle. Now after that, you're probably thinking like, oh, now we're going to go here to these tailgate mountains to drift. It's my own personal opinion, but I think tailgate mountains like this are not very good for learning drifting because they're always going either uphill or downhill depending which direction you pick, and If you're going uphill, you're going to fight against gravity, which makes the car, sometimes it can make your car feel worse than it actually is. When you're going downhill, obviously gravity's pulling you down, and that can make the car feel better than it actually is. So for me personally, I have my own little place around here in the docking container shipyard. Yeah, this place. Where the fuck am I? Okay, so here we are. Here's the spot on the map right here. It is exactly right here. This area right here. That's just the map. We were just up here at the festival. You're gonna come down here past the city. And right here is the little area we're gonna be in. What you're basically gonna learn in this area is, what's the thing? Angle switching, or whatever the way is to say it officially, I don't know. So basically, we're just gonna go a very specific route in this area. Yeah, we're gonna do the loop again, but this time I'm gonna have my telemetry open so you can see how I'm moving my steering wheel. I'm using throttle, brakes, handbrake, if I'm even using it. If I clutch kick, which a clutch kick basically means you press the clutch in to help the car's tires destabilize. But yeah, let's go ahead and do this.
Hey, that RS500 is ready for you now. The initial attempt to get it out of the cargo crate did more damage than we realized. Nothing usually couldn't handle though.
Shut up, woman. You can probably see right there, I did use the clutch there to change angle. But yeah, that is the route with the telemetry on. It's a nice tight area. You're switching angles a lot. This will just teach you to switch angles a lot, which you need to learn how to switch angles for an area like this one where you probably want to be drifting and getting the most photos and tandeming with your friends. I was originally going to use like an S15 Silvio for this, but first off, that was a little bit more of an expensive car, and I thought it'd be more fun to use this thing since, you know, it's a new to Forza car. Okay, but now once you've gotten comfortable with your low horsepower build Gloria, I feel like now we can go ahead and into the auto show and just fully upgrade this thing. And now, interestingly enough, we're actually going to swap from snow tires over to sport tires since we have so much more power now. And I feel like the sport's going to help out a little bit. But yeah, as you can see now, we're making 701 horsepower. Okay, and when you get out of here with our higher horsepower Gloria, what you're going to want to do is just do this loop again so you can get used to the higher horsepower Gloria. Because it may feel quite different. For me, at least personally, with these sport tires now, it does have a lot more grip, which feels a bit better. Yeah, that's nice. Okay, now once you've done that loop and you're comfortable with how the high horsepower Gloria feels, go ahead, we're at the festival, and come down this way back to our little area at the docks. And now I'm gonna come around here, I'm gonna turn on my telemetry so you can see the high horsepower run with the sport tires. Alright, and if you're able to do that loop with both versions of the cars, then you've got the basics down for drifting in this game, and you're pretty much all good to go. Also, a little bonus extra tip for my boys here playing on Man with Clutch. So here's another little fun thing you can do for those who don't know about it. So imagine I'm just here drifting or whatever, and I'm doing my thing, Okay, say I just want to disrespect somebody. Here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna do this. Fuck. Hold on. Fuck. There we go. I'm too far. Fuck. So as you're drifting and you want to do this, you want to spin the car backwards and you want to roll back towards someone while revving your car. And then, if you can, you want to go ahead and do a burnout in front of them. And then go right back to continuing your drifting. That is called a rollback. You essentially just slide your car around, then you whip it in a different direction, and then you roll the car backwards while holding in your clutch against someone while you're rolling back towards them. You can continuously rev, and when you get close enough, do a burnout. Do a burnout in their face, and then you just go right back to your drifting. It is a form of disrespect. If you found this video helpful and it did actually help you learn drifting, please go ahead and let me know in the comments. I'm always happy to help people. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask. Go ahead and think about subscribing, of course, and obviously leave a like if I didn't say that earlier. I do plan to make more tips and tricks videos like this. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. I keep forgetting my telemetry, man.